How are you doing? You're off mute. You're mute right now, but he's joining us. Many of you might know Ron Clymer because he might have taught you, he might have led your class in getting a real estate license years ago, right, Ron?
That's right.
He had the Clymer Real Estate School, and now he's moved to the Carolinas, and he's visiting us today because he wanted to learn about profit share because he's a member of one of the market centers in, are you a member of in a market center in Carolinas, Ron?
Yeah, in Hendersonville.
In Hendersonville, there you go. So, well, welcome and thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to, I'm going to share with you how you can grow your profit share. And we hold this every month, generally once or twice a month. So we hold these. You might be visiting us from a market center. You might have just logged on so you can learn how to grow your profit share. And Ashley monitors the chat box. So as I go through, I just want you to write any questions you might have in the chat box. Ashley will work to answer those questions. And you're going to see that I'm going to stop periodically and we'll have a conversation. So you can just kind of go off mute. But we'd like you to write down any questions that you have throughout the presentation. And then when we stop, we'll come back and answer those questions. Or like I said, Ashley will answer those questions as we're moving through the program with you. Okay? All right, so here we go. So grow your profit share tree. Let me get my PowerPoint working here. So what we're going to talk about today is what is profit share? How does it work? We're going to develop a plan for profit share, how a profit share tree grows, and how you grow your own profit share tree, and how you can build your passive income plan. Now, this class is actually designed to be inside a market center. So you're going to see that there's going to be some activities or some things that we call for. Unfortunately, we're not going to have, from a time perspective, or just because this is a Zoom, we're not going to have time to do some of those things. So I'm going to ask you to go back and work with a profit share partner, or work with your market center, or if you're on the ALC, work with your ALC, maybe on your growth committee to work through some of these exercises. So when we get there, I'll kind of explain to you how you can do those as well. Okay. Now, the other thing is, and Ashley's going to put this in the chat box, we were playing this video, but it became difficult to do, and also from a time perspective. But if you would write this down or just copy it when Ashley puts it in the chat, this is actually Gary Keller explaining profit share. And it's a wonderful video as to how profit share got started, why we do it, and what the benefits, and just some further explanation of some things that a lot of you have questions about naming sponsors or how profit share works. Or Gary does a really, really great job of explaining that. And also, if you do have questions about profit share, the P&G manual is always available to you, and you can get your P&G manual if you go to mykw.kw.com, and in the lower left corner of MyKW, there's a link there for your P&G manual. And in the P&G manual, you can actually find the binding sponsorship agreement, and you can get a lot of questions that you have answered about profit share in the P&G manual. So that's another resource that you may want to use. All right, so let's talk about what passive income is. Okay, what passive income is, and by the way, follow along in your book. I believe Ashley either sent this out to you in the Eventbrite link, or Ashley, did you send this out in the Eventbrite link?
I did, and just in case if anybody missed it, I also put it in the chat, a downloadable link for you.
Right. So right now we're on page 7 in your manual, and I kind of follow along in the manual with you, so you kind of don't get lost in where we are. So on page 7, it says that what is profit share? It's completely, entirely, wholly, absolutely passive income. So what do we mean by that? Passive income is basically something that you get, we kind of like to call it mailbox money, without actually having to do anything to receive it. So there's no financial risk when you receive profit share. There's no legal risk. There's no down payment, meaning that if you were to buy a piece of rental property or commercial building, that you would need to invest money into the building. With profit share, there is no down payment required, and there's no phone calls. Meaning that if you owned a building, you might get a phone call from a tenant if you didn't have a property manager that said, "Hey, my plumbing stopped up," or "My yard needs to be cleaned up." There are no phone calls that come in from profit share. Okay, Now, what I will tell you, and what I always like to mention is profit share could also be another way for you to get passive income from a rental property, and you get yourself a property manager, because you could take your profit share money and you could buy an investment property. So imagine that you chose to buy a $150,000 investment property. Let's say that your profit share earned you $15,000. You could use that $15,000 as part of the down payment, whatever was required to be able to buy $150,000 rental property. Now, I know who's ever seen this, that might not be in your area, but you understand what I'm trying to accomplish here. So you buy a rental property, and that profit share helps you with that down payment. You pay that rental property off in 15 years. Now you have a property free and clear to get future passive income. Maybe there would be some phone calls, but you have a property manager to handle that. But you used your profit sharing to help you get that property to begin with. And so you're building equity in property, and your profit share helps you make that happen. Okay? So let's continue on here. So who benefits from profit share? Okay? Who benefits is you and your family, okay? Your market center and all of KW, okay? So if you go to page 9 in your book, you and your family benefit from profit share. Profit share is something that is can continue on in perpetuity. What we mean by that is that once someone comes into the company and names you as their sponsor, provided that they have contributed the company dollar, and provided that the market center that they're with is profitable, you will receive profit sharing. Now, this will continue on. So even if and I'm going to go into some of the details, but even at some point in time, if you leave Keller Williams, just because you're deciding to retire, your profit share will continue to go with you. If you pass away, your profit share can be willed. We'll talk about this later. So it will continue to go to your family, or you can leave it to philanthropic. So profit share can benefit you, your family, or anyone that you choose to leave it with. It benefits your market center because we're helping the market center grow. The more that we help the market center grow, then the more opportunities we have to build the market center for market share, which would mean that we're building a big market center to be able to get market share, to be able to attract more buyers and sellers, which will help everybody's business increase. And then your market center receives more profit share, so that means we have more money to share. And it also benefits all of Keller Williams because you can help Keller Williams grow any place across the United States, Canada, and now worldwide. So it's not just the market center that you're in. Just like Ron is listening to me here, he's in the Carolinas. He knows a ton of people that are here in the Orlando area. And so he may be able to call people that are with another company and say, hey, you know, let me share some stories with you about how Keller Williams has helped me grow my business or helped other agents grow their business. And then he may have a conversation. He refers those to a team leader, and then that team leader may recruit them to their market center. Even though he's in the Carolinas, he's recruiting here in Orlando, and he's going to build his profit share in the Carolinas through agents that he knows here in Orlando. Ron, you got that idea? So you can help us grow? All right, awesome. And by the way, it's one of the true 100% opportunities. You see at the bottom of your page here on page 9, it says experience 100% plus. So regardless of what your cap is, if your cap is 18,000, if your cap is 20,000, if your cap is 30,000, if you're in another state watching us, when your profit share equals to or is greater than the amount of company dollar that you're paying into the market center, guess what? You're at truly 100%. So it's not costing you anything to be at Keller Williams because we return your, in theory, you're getting your cap back through your profit share. So this is truly 100% plus opportunity for you. All right, now, this is where I want to be. This is one of those interactive opportunities here. What will you do with your profit share? And if you want to, you can raise your hand, and Ashley, maybe you can watch and share with them how they raise their hand on their little screen there. They can raise their hand. They can tell me, what would you do? What could you do with additional income? What could you do with another $500 a month? What could you do with another $200 a month? What could you do with another $1,000 a month? What could you do with $2,000 or $3,000 a month? Think about that. What if your profit share were able, if you looked at your bank account the 21st of the month and you saw that $500 was deposited into your bank account, what would that do for you? So I want you to go to the chat box and write that out. Ashley's going to share those with us. Or raise your hand and let me know. Just go off mute and raise your hand and just share this live with us. So go into that chat box and tell us, what would profit share do for you? Ashley, we got people chatting. Anybody going off mute to share with me what profit share would do for them?
I don't see anything so far. I don't see anybody that's raised their hand. Oh, here they come.
Okay.
Get my Tesla, pay down credit cards.
Awesome. Get your Tesla. I love that.
Mm.
Buy a Tesla. Okay. What else? Pay off credit cards.
I want to grow my business.
I look forward to.
What would you do with your profit share?
I want to grow my business.
You want to grow your business, your real estate business?
Yes.
So you would use your profit share to reinvest into your real estate business.
Yes.
That's an awesome way to be able to use that profit share. Great job.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
What else, Ashley?
Travel fund, investment properties, house in Florida, travel.
Awesome. Look at all these things, this magic profit share that shows up in your bank account on the 21st of every month. By the way, we've been sharing profits for well over 35 years right now, ever since Keller Williams put profit share in place. And you know what? We've never missed, even during hurricanes, even through Katrina and hurricanes and all the things that have happened. We have never missed a profit share day. And so I think that's really important to know, that we've never missed a profit share day, that every day, every month, on the 21st of every month, you look into your bank account or whatever account that you have your profit share put into, that your profit share will show up there. So that's really, really important. Okay, so let's continue on. So who is in the profit share system? Who do you know? So who is in the KW profit share system? So whether you receive monthly profit share today or not, the answer to this question, every KW associate, including you. What that means is anytime anybody joins Keller Williams, they do name a sponsor. You cannot join Keller Williams without naming a sponsor. It's just who we are. By the way, the other thing that's important here is that it's not just for Keller Williams agents. A lot of people think you need to be a real estate agent to be able to get profit share. No, it's for anyone. So even if you're, even if you have, let's just say that you're an agent and you have an assistant, and that assistant works for you, you would tell your market center that you have an assistant, and they don't have to be in the market center, that you have an assistant that works for you. The market center will have them complete their paperwork. They will put them into the system. They will complete the binding sponsorship agreement papers. They will put them into the system. So your assistants, your agents on your team, anyone, any staff member of a market center, any staff member of the team is all eligible for profit share. And so it's really, I want to make sure that everybody understands that, because everybody knows somebody that can benefit by being in the Keller Williams system. Now, you may have somebody that you're recruiting and maybe they are an assistant to somebody, yet that person may know someone else that wants to come in and get their real estate license, or they may know really great agents at another company that want to join Keller Williams. So it doesn't matter that they may or may not be a producing person that you have in your tree. The fact is they may know somebody that's a producing agent. So we want to make sure that everybody can take advantage of this. So there's an exercise here on page 13.
I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
I have a question. So when you say anybody, but they have to have a license, correct?
No, you don't have to have a
No?
license to receive profit share. It's any associate, anyone who is a staff member or anyone who is working for someone that is with Keller Williams. So if you hired an assistant for your team and she or she does not have a real estate license, they can be in our profit share system. All of our staff members in the market center are all in the profit share system, but they all don't have real estate licenses. That's a
That means that they can receive money, not sell real estate. That's what she means, I think. Right?
Anybody, well,
Receive money.
No, it doesn't have anything to do with receiving money or not receiving money. It doesn't have anything to do with the real estate license. This is great.
Okay.
You guys don't understand this. Anybody that is a member of Keller Williams. So if you're a mega agent or an agent and you have an assistant that works for you as an assistant, that person, it can be in our profit share system. Now, you won't get any money from that person because of the fact that they are not contributing to profit share because they're not doing any transactions. But it doesn't mean that they don't know someone who is a producing agent that would do real estate transactions. So then they would come in and name that assistant as their sponsor, and the assistant would get profit share, and you would get profit share if your assistant named you. Does that make sense? And I'll explain this a little bit further when we go into the tree. Okay. Okay, so on page 13, you can list here the names of anybody that you think you would love to be able to have in the profit share system. So this is a great way for you to go in and write down their names on here, okay? Who do you know in your market center that receives profit share distributions? Well, I'm sorry, this is the exercise where you write down some people here that are receiving profit share, and you can go to them and follow up and ask them, how did they get started earning profit share? So these would be the people that are already receiving profit share, and use them as a resource for you to help you build your profit share tree. And then it has at the bottom here, what about growth share? Growth share is what we, is the same as profit share, but that's what we receive worldwide. So let's say that you knew somebody in Italy or Germany or Switzerland or wherever we're looking to build a worldwide company, market center or country. You can talk to that person. They can name you as their sponsor, and you would receive what we call growth share. Now, growth share is calculated a little bit differently. The tree is the same, but it's calculated a little bit differently because each country has a different economic model. Each country has a different numeric system. Each country is different on what they allow or not allow for the sharing of money. So it's done a little bit differently in our countries, but you will still receive benefits from referring someone to a worldwide country. So how does profit share work? So let's talk about this. Okay, maybe this will help you with some of those other questions. An associate joins any market center and names you. Now, a Keller Williams associate does not necessarily need to be licensed. Anyone in our system is called a Keller Williams associate, whether they're licensed or not. So anyone that joins any market center and they name you, they pay company dollars. So again, the person that names you, if they're an assistant, is not necessarily going to have company dollar, but they may know somebody that is a producing person. So whoever is in that tree, they pay company dollar. The market center is profitable, and on the 21st of the following month, some of the market center's profit is automatically deposited into your account. Usually it's about 52-48. About 48% of the market center's profit is in the profit sharing pool, and the other 52% goes to the owners, okay? Now, what's important to remember here is that you are not getting a portion of any associate's commission. You are sharing in the owner's profit, and that's very, very unique. Many companies where you hear about, it's not profit share, but you might hear about revenue share or terminologies. Those are actually where you're sharing in an agent's commission, or you're getting a portion of the agent's revenue. In Keller Williams, it's strictly off of the profitability of the market center. And so the more we help the market center become more profitable, the more profit share we're able to earn. Now I'm going to get into the vesting opportunities with you, okay? And right now we're on page 15, okay? 15 and I believe 15, yes. So for agents who joined Keller Williams prior to April 1st, when you've been with Keller Williams for 3 years and a day, you're considered vested. So if you joined Keller Williams, if you're on this call or on this Zoom, and you joined Keller Williams prior to April 1st, 2020, once you've been with Keller Williams for 3 years and a day, you're considered vested. So what that means is, if for any reason you leave Keller Williams after 3 years and a day, you will still continue to receive your profit share regardless if you're retired, you join another company, whatever it might be, you will still continue to receive your profit share. Now, again, a couple of things that needed to happen is that the person that named you needs to have contributed to company dollar. In other words, they needed to have a closing, and the market center that they're at needs to have profit, and the person needs to continue to pay their $25 a month to stay in the profit. You need to continue to pay your $25 a month to stay in the profit share system. But provided all of those things occur, you will continue to receive your profit share. Now, this is for agents who joined Keller Williams after April 1st. So if you're on this call and you joined us after April 1st, this will take effect in April 1st of 2020. I'm sorry, 2000, I guess that would be 27, I guess. When you've been with Keller Williams Associate for 7 consecutive years and a day, then you're considered vested. When a vested associate makes a business decision to move to a competing brand, their profit share no longer follows. Now, this was a decision that was made by our international ALC. What this does is it protects your tree from people coming in and leaving and joining a competing company and for some reason taking agents or their tree with them, which hurts everybody's profit share, because you got to remember our tree is 7 levels. Okay, so everybody in that profit share tree could get hurt if an agent left and took people in your tree with them. So now it's 7 years to become vested. If you leave before 7 years, you're not vested. That means that you would not continue to receive your profit sharing. And after 7 years, you would be vested. However, if you left and went to a competing company, you could lose your profit share. Now, if you left after 7 years and you didn't go to a competing brand, you just retired, or you just chose that you weren't going to sell real estate anymore, maybe those, I guess, would be the 2 choices. You're not going to a competing brand, then you would still continue to receive your profit share. Now, for those associates who choose to return to Keller Williams within 6 months of moving to a competing brand, their vesting period will be reset to reflect their prior vesting date and downline. So that means that if for some reason anyone left, they join a competing company, but they choose to come back to Keller Williams within that 6-month period of time, and their vesting period would be reset to reflect their prior vesting date and downline. So Ashley, do we have any questions right now? Or does anybody want to go off mute and ask me a question?
Let's see here. I'm going down. I'm making sure. Okay, there is a question that just came in, so I'm reading it as I'm seeing it. Okay. To clarify, can be a practicing real estate agent that starts with a market center, overseas in his area, or does it have to be an investor that would like to open a market center?
Oh, you mean for worldwide? That must be a worldwide question. No, it can just be anybody. It's anybody who wants to join a market center worldwide. So if you know of an agent that's in Italy and they're with a RE/MAX or a private company and they want to join a market center in Italy, you would get growth share from that person.
Okay, and clarification on the $25, they were asking a month or a year. I just replied in the...
That's a year. I'm sorry. As you know, for all of you that are with Keller Williams, you pay an annual fee of $25 to be in the profit share program. That's just to maintain the profit sharing system. So if for any reason you leave Keller Williams, you still need to pay that $25. If you have a tree, you still want to pay that $25 a year, and that keeps you in the profit share system. If you don't have a tree, you don't want to pay the $25. That's fine. You don't need to. But for most people that have a tree, they want to maintain that tree. You pay that $25 a year.
All right, that's all I see on my end.
Okay, very good. Okay. Now, as I said before, you can will your profit share to a beneficiary, and this is a question that comes up quite a bit. When you sign the binding sponsorship agreement, on the last page, it's like 4 or 5 pages in, there's a place for you to be able to list your beneficiary. If you've not done that, please make sure you go back to your Market Center MCA and see who your beneficiary may be, or please make sure that you've listed your beneficiary. If for any reason your beneficiary has changed due to a marital status or just for whatever particular reason you want to change your beneficiary, go back to the Market Center and make sure that that gets changed. The reason that that's important is that if for some reason you were to pass away, then and you did not have this in your will appropriately, and you didn't have your beneficiary listed, your estate would go to probate, and it could take a while for your profit share to continue on. The other thing is that if you were to pass away and this went to your spouse or to some of your children or your trust or wherever you are designated that this goes to, they can continue to recruit people to Keller Williams, and your profit share can continue to grow. So even though you may have passed away, if it goes to your spouse is now in the system, and so they can actually continue to grow their profit share by recruiting people to Keller Williams or referring them to a team leader. And that team leader would recruit them to Keller Williams, and they can continue to have that profit share grow. This can also be left to any philanthropic organization. So it could be left to the American Heart Association, the Cancer Research. It could be left to SPCA. It could be left to any place that you choose for it to go to. Okay. And you have access to all your profit share reports, even if you left or if you're with Keller Williams. You have all access to all of that on mykw.kw.com in the profit share folder under reports. So you always have access to be able to go in and see who's in your tree and what your profit share is. Okay, any questions, Ashley?
I do not see any questions. I think we're good.
Okay, very good. So let's go to page 17, which is about develop a purposeful plan. So know how to build your passive income, have a plan in place to activate your passive income, and then utilize the KW resources. And so I'm going to show you some other people's profit share here as we move through, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit. But there's some great resources where you can go on to profit share on KW Connect, in addition to the video that Gary, that I already shared with you to watch. There's some great videos on profit share on KW Connect, and MAPS Coaching actually has a program on profit share. So you might want to go into MAPS and go into group coaching and then look for those profit share classes. I believe Linda McKissick does one on a regular basis. So that would help you as well. So let's talk about how your tree grows. First of all, there's you. So you join Keller Williams and you're going to name a sponsor. So in my case, if you were to use my example, I came in and I named a gentleman by the name of Monroe Carr. So Monroe Carr is my sponsor, okay? And then my sponsor has a sponsor, and his sponsor was actually his wife, whose name is Holly Carr. So in my tree, I have Holly Carr, and then I have Monroe Carr, and then there's me. So that's the beginning of my tree. And if you look at that, it kind of looks like the trunk of a tree. So this is where your 7 levels will start, okay? Now we're talking about building the tree, okay? So again, I want you to follow along or use your resources on page 19 and 20 if you want to make notes. So you see here, there's me, and then my sponsor, who is Monroe Carr, and then my tree, my 7 levels tree is going this way, okay? With you, and this is you, as you come in and have people name you, this is where you're building your tree, okay? So you're going to have trees as well. So when someone comes in and names you, you become, they name you, you become their sponsor. So they name you, you become their sponsor. When they name you, you become their sponsor, and then your sponsor's sponsor. So this continues on. Now, as we continue here, you're going to see, here's how the tree grows. You see now that this is looking like a much bigger tree. So when your first level comes in, they've named you, you're their sponsor. This would become your sponsor's sponsor, okay? And then now these people here, these 3 people are on this level. These 3 people here are on the second level. These 3 people here are on the second level of your first level sponsor. So when these people here start to produce, this person here would get profit share and you would get profit share. Now, maybe from this level here, only one person would produce. And so in one particular month, so you'd get profit share from this person, and then this person would get profit, you would get profit share, and this person would get profit share. If all three produced, and they could all be in different market centers. So if all three of these people were in different market centers, you'd get profit share from each one of these different market centers. So this person here would get profit share, which is your first level, and then you would get profit share, and then your sponsor would get profit share, and your sponsor would get profit share. Now, this may be that none of these people produce, or let's just say that this is the assistants. Let's just say that this was you. Let's just say that you brought in 3 people who were assistants on a team, or maybe your executive assistants or someone, okay? Now, you may not get profit share from these people, but if these people went out and got people to join, you would get profit share from here. They would get profit share. This person would get profit share, and you would get profit share. So these people don't necessarily need to produce, but if they're bringing in people that are producing, then they're getting profit share. Your first level is getting profit share, and you get profit share. I'll continue on so you'll see how this works. This is an example of the way that a tree might look. So this is a gentleman by the name of Mike Brody. And Mike Brody joined Keller Williams, probably in the late 90s, middle 90s. Okay, and I'm showing this to you because I want you to see where the opportunities are. By the way, Gary Keller believes that the person that to earn profit share has not necessarily joined our company yet. Okay, now these are those 7 levels that I'm talking about. Okay, so this is somebody on the first level, the second level, the third level, the fourth level, the fifth level. So this is how big this person's tree is, okay? This is the profit share they've earned, and this is how many people are on their tree. So in Mike's first level, you can see he's got 40 people. 12 months ago, we had 39, and just last month, I haven't updated this yet because we haven't gotten the new profit share statements due to the time frame. But you can see that Mike got in June, he had 40 people. On his second level, he had 209. On his third level, he had 405. On his fourth level, he had 886. Fifth level, 1,600. Sixth level, 2,500. Third level, 3,000. So you can see that where your opportunity comes from is as this tree gets bigger and bigger, these levels blossom out here. So you can imagine how big this tree becomes. Okay. Now,
Georgia, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah. So in that example you gave, like they're going to 4, 5, 6, and 7, how it grows exponentially there. You may not have the answer how it works, but is number 4 providing number 5's level, or is it a mixture of everyone that gets those different levels? So what I mean by that, was 4 recruiting level 5's?
Well, let me continue on because let's just look here. This is just one person. So let's just pretend. Who am I speaking to? I think I recognized your voice, but I wasn't sure.
Sorry, it's George Martinez.
Hey, George. I thought I recognized you, but I wasn't quite sure. So George, let's just say, George, this is you. Okay. Now you go out and you bring in these 3 people because you're responsible for bringing in these 3 people. I'm sorry, George. Let's just say this is you. This makes more sense. Okay, this is you. Now let's just say, George, you went out and got this person. That person's on your first level now. Are you with me?
Yes.
And then these people here, George, are on your second level. Now these 2 people may not do anything at all, but this person might go out and get somebody on their third level, and the person on their third level might go out and get 4 people on their fourth level. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And then the person on the fourth level, George, may go out and only get 1 person, but the person on the 5th level may go out and get 5 or 6 people. So it's not necessary. Each one of your levels is individual, George. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. So you got to think about this person on the first level. Now, what is this person's tree going to look like? Are you with me, George?
Yes.
Okay, what is this person's tree going to look like? What is this person's tree going to look like? So each one of these people, just like here, each one of these is going to have a different tree. See, your tree is starting to form with your first level, George. okay? You might only have, let's just pretend there was nobody here, and this is your first level, and they just went out and got a second level, but this second level person went out and got 4 people to join their third level, and then all of those people on that third level went out and got more people. Do you see how it grows, George? So each tree is different. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Does that help
So-
you understand this?
Yeah, so I understand. So in general, because I'm watching Jay Papazon, he's I guess he's given like a class about how I built the profit share on the Pivot website, and he's just showing how I guess there's like I guess her name is Wendy or Rebecca DePozo and Wendy Patton, how they're doing it. So are you in theory would we be training those different levels to help them grow, or is it just something if they're
No, you won't. No, you don't have to train those people to. Let me continue on. I'm going to answer some of those questions, but I love where you're going right now. Okay, so let me continue on, and then maybe I'll answer some of those questions as we move forward. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, but great questions. Great questions. Okay. So, for instance, here, Mike has 40 people on his first level. So, from these people here on the first level, there were 209 people that came in. There might be one person in this 40 that, or maybe only 10 people in this 40 brought on these people. And maybe of these 209, there might only be 100 that helped bring in people here. And of these people, there might only be 200 that brought in these people. So it's all individual. You're not responsible for training or doing anything. I'm going to go into that here in a little bit later. But I think the important thing is to notice that it doesn't take 100 or 200 or 3,000 people to be on your first level. There's only 40 people here, okay? You can see here that the profit share from the first level is very, very minimal. But it starts to grow because from this first level, there's people that joined, 209 people over here. He got 779. Out of this third level, 405 people, he got 1,900. So as you see, each level continues to grow. So here he's got a big bushy tree, okay? But he got $30,000. This is money, guys, $30,000 out of these 3,000 people, okay? Now let's look at his profit share, okay? Last month he got 34,000 in that. This would have been in May. Year to date he's earned 202,000. Last month he got 34,000. That would have been in May. And in June, he got 62,000. And you can see how each level is important. So the fuller your tree gets, it's not always the people on your first level. A lot of people think that you have to be responsible for going out and getting a bunch of people on your first level. And that's not particularly true. When you get people on your first level, it's great to get people who are influencers that can go out and get more people, that can go out and get more people, that can go out and get more people. It's not a job. Remember I said it's influence, okay? Now let me show you somebody else's. This is Jimmykissick. Now you notice here what's interesting is Jimmykissick only has 2 people on his first level, okay? And you can see here 30, 151, 583. You can see this is much lower than Mike's, okay? Interesting though, he's earned $168,000 year to date. You can see here the amounts of money that comes in. Now, you can see here that Jimmy named a gal by the name of Carol Bounds. I'm going to tell you the story about Carol Bounds because I want you to see how magnificent profit share can be to people, okay? Carol Bounds was actually a gal that owned the Denton Market Center in Denton, Texas. And she recruited Jimmy and Linda McKissick, who were mega agents in her area at that time. So when they came in, Jimmy named Carol and Linda named Jimmy. So that's their tree. Jimmykissick named Carol Bounds and Linda McKissick named Jimmykissick. I'll show you Linda's profit share in a minute. What happened is that after Carol owned the market center for a few years, and when it came time for her to renew, she made a decision that she didn't think Keller Williams was right for her. So she chose to leave Keller Williams and she started a Century 21 franchise. Well, Gary went to Jimmy and Linda and said, hey, I need somebody to buy the market center from Carol. So Jimmy and Linda said, okay, well, we'll buy the market center. And so they did. And, but that doesn't have anything to do with Carol being their sponsor. That Carol was just their sponsor. Carol went off to open up a Century 21 franchise because we're 3 years. She was with Keller Williams for 3 years and a day. She was vested. She continues to this day to earn profit share. And I believe her profit share is somewhere in the $200,000 to $300,000 range, just because Jimmy and Linda came in and named her as a sponsor. Okay. Now, this is Jimmy's profit share year to date, 168,000. Last year, it was 567,000. This is Linda. Now, Linda names Jimmy. You see here, James P. McKissick. So this is Linda's profit share. She named Jimmy McKissick. She only has 28 people on her first tree. Interesting, though, she's earned $242,000. Last year, she earned $817,000. The year before that, she earned $855,000. The year before that, she earned $893,000. The year before that, she earned $820,000. You can see here Jimmy's $567, $587, $612. You can see here Mike's $706, $799, $841. We've had a little bit of change in the money because of the COVID this year, but they'll probably still earn somewhere, this will probably double between now and the end of the year. So they're still going to earn a good amount of money. Our market centers are getting really highly profitable now that we're kind of coming out of the COVID opportunity as well. But you can see here, she only has 28 people on her first tree. She has 150 in her second tree. So of these 28, so George, to your question, of these 28, 150 people joined from some agents in this 28. Of this 150, some people joined from these people on the second level. From this 583, these people joined from people of this. From this 2684, people joined here and named these people. Does that make sense, George? Are you kind of understanding this now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But what I want you guys to really understand is a lot of people think that you have to go out and get a lot of people on your first level. You don't. What you want to do is you want to get influential people on your first level that bring in people, that bring in people, that bring in people, that bring in people, that bring in people. Now, just to show you somebody normal, I'm going to show you mine. Okay. Now, mine last year was $32,000. Now, you have to remember, I started in Keller Williams as a team leader. So my goal was not to go out and recruit people for my own personal tree. My job was to go out and recruit people for my agents. So my profit sharing actually has come from, I ventured out and I became an OP. I would go out and I would do training. And actually my profit share is coming from people that I never knew that talked to me about Keller Williams. But when I was a team leader, I could not purposely recruit people because I was always talking to agents that were referred to me by other agents. That's our job as team leaders, guys, to get people like George to send me names as a team leader so I can help grow my agent's tree. Now, naturally, there's people that I met or knew that an agent never gave me a name of that ended up joining my tree, but my primary focus was to grow my agent's tree. Now, I think this is a really good example. I only have 9 people on my first tree, on my first line. 45, 78. So you can see I don't have a whole bunch of people yet. I'm pretty happy with close to $33,000 coming in. My profit share actually in July was $5,000. So I'm actually at $18,000 this year to date. I just, like I said, I haven't updated those because the numbers just came through. And as you can see, I didn't have anybody that contributed on my first line, but you can see that my majority of my profit share came from here. Any questions so far? Ashley, any questions, or just go off mute, or any questions in the chat box?
Yeah, there was a couple questions that came in. If the one person that they have underneath their downline, if they were to leave KW before the time, how would that affect their profit share?
I always leave that for somebody to ask a question because it's always a question. I know the answer, but I never say it because I wait for somebody to ask a question. If somebody leaves your tree, let's just say that they're in your second level and they were to leave, everybody moves up. Now, provided they're not vested. So if they were vested, that doesn't matter. They're vested until they stay in that line. But if somebody were to leave, if somebody on your first level left Keller Williams, everybody on your second level down would move up. So everybody moves up. So for the new guidelines, if anybody leaves 7 years, before 7 years in 1 day, anybody in that tree would move up if anybody left. If it was somebody that was before April 1st and they were to leave, then they would all move up. So once they're vested, they stay in that tree. Now, if somebody comes back within 9 months and a day, 9 months and a day under the April 1st, 2020, if they come back 9 months and a day, they go back into that profit share tree in the same level. If they're gone for 9 months, they can come back and name a new sponsor. Okay, any questions on that?
We have one more.
If
Actually, two
I
more
have a
came in.
question.
So-
Okay, go ahead. Let the live person ask a question, then we'll go back to the chat. Go ahead.
If you have a transfer
Doesn't
from
make any difference.
no,
Well, it only makes.
got you. Okay.
If somebody were to come in, let me say that differently. If you have somebody in your tree and they're at your market center now, but they transfer to another market center, they stay in your tree. That doesn't change anything. It only changes the profitability and the profit share because they're now at a different market center. So you would get profit share out of that market center versus the market center they were previously at. But it doesn't have anything to do with your tree. Does that make sense?
Okay. Cool.
Well, I want to make sure you understand because I'm not hearing clarity in your answer.
No, I was just curious. That's all.
Did I answer the question? Did I answer the question that you were asking?
Yeah. What about like if they quit and they start all over?
You mean if they quit Keller Williams?
Uh-huh.
Okay. All right. So again, if someone is when somebody comes in, they're going to name you as their sponsor. Once they've named you as their sponsor, then it can't be changed. There's a time frame. There's a 90-day time frame when somebody joins Keller Williams that if there was a mistake or something, that there's an opportunity to change that. But if somebody comes in and they're in your tree, they will remain in your tree. So you have to remember, it doesn't matter what market center they're in. They could be in your market center. They could be in a market center in Washington, D.C. They could be any place in the country or in Canada or worldwide. They're in your tree. Now, if they change market centers and they move from market center A to market center B, that does not have anything to do with your tree. Your tree is your tree. The only thing that changes is their profit sharing because it's dependent. Their profit sharing, I'm going to show you this in a minute. Their profit sharing comes from the market center that they're associated with. So the only thing that would change is if they were in your market center and your market center was highly profitable and they transferred to a market center that was not as profitable, your profit share would change because of the fact of the profitability of the market center, but it doesn't have anything to do with your tree. Now, if you say that they quit real estate and they quit buying and selling real estate, then you wouldn't get any profit share because they're no longer contributing to the company dollar. And then if they started back up again and they started listing and selling, then you'd get profit share because they're listing and selling. The only way you get profit share is through that person's contributions, and I'm going to explain that to you here in a minute. Go ahead, Ashley. Next question.
Okay, so there was a couple that came through the chat. What would be your proper answer in your point of view when someone tells you this is multi-level marketing?
Well, this is not multi-level marketing because people think it's multi-level marketing because we have a tree and somebody names somebody, but it's not multi-level marketing because you don't need to make any investments and you're not paying any money and there's nothing multi-level about it. It's all it is we're sharing in the profitability of a market center. This doesn't have anything to do with anybody giving you money to be able to be in a multi-level program. Where people get confused with this is the fact that because there's a tree and somebody names somebody as a sponsor, there's multi-levels of sharing of the profits. But what difference would that make is if you're in a corporation and let's say that you're the boss of the company and the boss of the company has several employees in his company, and the person that's his executive gets X amount of dollars of profit, The person that's below that person, working for that person, gets X amount of profit. The person that is that person gets X amount of profit. It's just how we reward our profit sharing. It doesn't have anything to do with multi-level marketing, because it's not multi-level marketing. There's just a chain, and maybe, I don't know why people call it multi-level. It's only because there's a chain or a distribution of profits that are being shared. So I would use the word, if somebody says multi-level, just say, I'm sorry, but it's not. We have a chain of distribution as to how we share our profits, but there's no investment, and you don't have to sell a product, or you don't have to do anything in order to receive profit share. It's very simple. The person, when they come in and they join Keller Williams, like anybody does, when they come in, they name a sponsor. And so when that person produces and contributes to the owner's profit, the owner is sharing his profits back with us. How is that multi-level marketing? That would be my answer to that question.
Okay. Next question. Where they can, this person is asking where they can find their whole tree.
Sure. Well, first of all, where we said mykw.kw.com, and then you go to reports, and when you go to reports, you can look up your profit share tree. It should be pretty easy for you to find. And then you can, there's several reports that you can give there, and it'll say my tree or something like that. It'll say my downline, so you can look there. But also you can find this. This is called the profit share statement. And you see here where it says view 7-level downline. You can click on this statement, and you can click here, and it'll actually give you your tree as well. There's something else that we realize may not be happening every month is the MCAs get, on the 21st of every month, the MCAs get a profit share report. And I discovered today that that may not being distributed every month. And so it needs to be distributed every month, because that tells you who you earn profit share from. It doesn't give you your whole tree. It just shares with you who you received profit share from that particular month, who contributed. And so that's important that you get that every month as well.
Okay. And last question that came in, you were giving a time frame on something, and I believe it was the 9 months in a day where you have time to change your sponsor. This is all that's in there though. So Kinley, you might have to provide some clarity, but it says
that was 9. All right, let me go back. When anybody joins Keller Williams, in the first 90 days, that's the only time that there is an opportunity, due to clerical error or temporary sponsorship, that an agent can make, that we can change a sponsor. An agent cannot join Keller Williams and name a sponsor and then come back to the market and say, oh, gee, you know what? I decided I wanted to name Sally Smith instead of Henry Jones. We don't allow that to happen, because first of all, it doesn't have anything to do with anybody making any promises, what team they're going to be on, who's going to promise to mentor them, who's going to promise to get them leads. That's not the way it works. The person that's named as a sponsor is the sponsor that was the person who brought you into the company. I mean, you all got here by some rhyme or reason. If you were a new agent and nobody ever called you, that may be different, because you're coming in and you're meeting the team leader, and then the team leader will help you make a decision as to who you name, because you didn't get there anyway, except by somebody, nobody told you, you just looked it up and you went and had a meeting at that market center. Generally, 90% of the time, you're having an appointment because somebody said, we want you to come and meet with our team leader and let us tell you how we can help you grow your business. Let us share with you how we can change your life. You got to that team leader because of somebody, not because somebody promised you something after you got there. That's the person you need to name, that person that helped you get the appointment. So only in that first 90 days is there a window, in the event that sometimes an MCA may make a clerical error. We didn't have the right person. The person wasn't in the system when we went to enter them into the Winmore system. There's some clerical situations that can occur in the first 90 days. But that's the only way, that's the only time we change anything. Once you're in the company, your sponsor is set. Now, what I was saying about 9 months, if an agent should leave the company under the first scenario of April of April 1st, 2020, if a person leaves the company, Keller Williams, for 9 months and a day, and they come back, that's the only other time that they can name a different sponsor should they choose to. That's the only time that they can do that. That first 90 days, only if there's a clerical error, and if they're gone out of the Keller Williams system and they were not vested. So that means that they left before they were vested. They left Keller Williams before they were vested. They were gone for 9 months and a day, and they came back. That's the only other time, or that's the only time they can change their sponsor.
Georgia, has that always been a 9-month timeline?
Yes, in the P&G.
Okay. I learned it wrong before. That's why I was asking for clarification.
What did you learn? What did you learn before?
I previously thought it was 6 months and a day. So 9 months and a day that they're
That's
gone and returned.
That's been the P&G manual ever since 20 years that I've been with the company.
Cool, thanks.
Now, Kenley, I don't know if you just, if that maybe was something that was, that you learned with the new change, because the new change has something that if they come back within 6 months, that they can be re-entered, because we're taking people out of the system. Does that make sense? So
Okay.
you might have gotten it mixed up with that.
Maybe.
That's a little bit different.
Okay.
That's people that we are removing from the company because they've left after they were vested. They left and then they joined EXP or a competing company that has a profit share system, EXP or Exit Realty or something, and they're actually competing with us. Then we take them out of the system. Now they can come back if they come back within 6 months under this new guideline, but see, that hasn't even happened yet because 7 years hasn't even come back for any of that to transpire. Does that make sense, Kenley?
Yep.
We have to wait for 6 years or 7 years for all of that to go into place. But once that happens, if they leave and they come back in 6 months, we will replace them. But that's because we purposely have taken them out of the system.
Understood.
That hasn't come into place yet, though, because we have to let the 7 years happen. Now it won't happen until, I guess, 2027 or 26.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else?
Nope, I think that's all the questions I see.
Boy, Ashley, I have to be on my toes with this group, don't I?
I know, they're asking great questions.
I know they are. I know they are. Okay, so this is how profit share is calculated. So I think this may help some of you with some of the questions you've had. So if an agent contributed $10,000, now remember, in order for you to get profit share, the person that you brought in needs to have contributed to the profitability of the market center. We cannot share profits with you if the person that you brought in did not contribute to the profit. So if you have an agent that brought in and had a $10,000 commission check, that would be kind of like a $300,000, $350,000 price point, okay, at 2.5 or 3%. If they came in and they had $10,000 commission that month, and the market center had GCI, so this is the agent side, this is the market center side, and the market center had $900,000 in gross commission income coming in, okay, that would mean the market center had GCI, gross commission income of $900,000. We pay out because many of you are what we called capped. So because you're capped, we paid out $400,000 because we don't get to keep any of your company dollar if you're capped. So we paid out and gave the agents who are capped $400,000. That would mean we had paid on GCI of $500,000. That's $500,000 that we collected are 30% on. So you can see here, company dollar at 30%, which is what you guys call your split, that we get 30% of that or $150,000. Okay. Now, if you look at this $500,000, $10,000, that's like 2%. 10,000 divided by 500 is 2%. So there's a factor of 2%. That's how the profit share for this profit share market center is going to be distributed in this person's line here. So I'm just using this person here as an example. Okay. So Kenley, I'm just going to pretend this was you. So you had a commission of $10,000, okay, this particular month. The market center had paid on GCI of 2%, of 500,000. Your commission divided by 500 is 2%, okay? So of this company dollar of $150,000, we pay the expenses, and that gives us net profit of 60,000. And so through a formula that Keller Williams has, there's a formula that they utilize, but it basically comes out to be about 48.52. About, in this particular case, about $28,000 goes into the profit sharing plan, and $32,000 goes to owner's profit. So because if Kenley, if this was your tree right now, if this was you and you contributed this, the person that brought you your profit share tree is going to have $560 in it, because 2% of 28,000 is $560. So that's what's in this chain of sponsorship pool, this profit share pool. So Kenley, the person that brought you in is going to get $280 because they're going to get 50% of the profit share pool. The person that brought you in, or your sponsor's sponsor, is going to get $56 or 10%. This person's sponsor, this would be the third level, is going to get 5%. The fourth level would get 5%. The fifth level would get 7.5%. The sixth level would get 10%, and the seventh level would get $70. This is those levels that I showed you. This is where that bulk of that profit share gets paid out, is right in this area here. This is where the tree gets really bushy. Okay. Now you might ask, why is it less here and why is it more here? Well, first of all, this was their sponsor's sponsor, so they should benefit the most. Okay. But again, when this sponsor brings in people, okay, or has, like this person here brought in this person that 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 brought in this person, right? So the thing is, this is the person who's been in the profit share tree the longest, and so that's where the benefit comes in. So it's all been formulated to know, as that tree gets bushier, how everybody benefits the most from the profit share tree. Okay. So again, you don't have to have a lot of people on your first line. Yes, you get more money, but it's the people that are bringing in 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 the people that really makes the profit share work. Okay. Does anybody have any questions on that?
I do not see any questions that have come up, Georgia.
Very good. Okay. So focus on the first level. And what we mean by focusing on that first level, we're on page 23. The reason that you want to focus on this, and Mo Anderson talks about having 15 on your first line, but you don't have to have 30. You don't have to have 40. You do want to have 15 people on that first line that are very, very influential. Very influential to be able to go out and get people in that second level that can, because that becomes your first levels. The second level becomes your first level's first level, okay? So the more we bring in people that are influential, the more opportunity that you have to get this tree really bushy and growing, okay? And so we talk about on this page 23, is it too late to build a large tree? Absolutely not. Like it says, Gary Keller has said that the top profit share earner has not joined our company yet. So you can begin today. It's not hard. And does it require a plan and focus? Yes. So this is how you build your profit share tree. Okay. First of all, it's agents that you do deals with. You all have somebody that you've been a co-broker with. Compliment them. Make them feel good about the transaction that you did. Relate to them. Refer them. We want you to kind of put a little X in this recruit here, because we don't really want you recruiting them. We do want you referring them, but the most important thing we want you to do is refer them to your team leader. Now, if you want to be part of that meeting with the team leader, that's great. That's perfect. Go in and let the team leader know that you want to sit in that meeting and that you want to be in there because you want to learn. But you know what? We're trained as team leaders. We're trained to be able to take them through a needs analysis, a gap analysis, to learn about their business. We're not going to have a meeting and recruit them and talk to them about joining Keller Williams. We are going to have a meeting with them to talk to them about their business and what is it that we can do to help them grow their business, just like we're helping you grow your business. And this is where the relationship starts, okay? Your past clients, a lot of times your past clients want to become real estate agents. Well, that's the time when you refer them to like the Climber Real Estate Company or, the Climber Real Estate School, which Ron is no longer a part of because he sold that company. But this is where agents will go out and get a real estate license, and they will learn how to be able to, get their license, and then they're going to join a market center. So if you have a past client, you make sure you talk to your team leader, learn about the real estate schools. A lot of times we have them in the market center, send them to real estate school, stay in relationship with them. Then when they come out of real estate school, make sure that they join a market center. It may not be your market center. You may know somebody in Tampa that you're in Orlando. So make a relationship with that team leader in Tampa. Your team leader can help you with that. Stay in relationship with the team leader in Tampa and make sure that when that agent comes in that you've talked to them about naming you as a sponsor, because that's really important. So this page here, 25 and 26, this is, I'm sorry, 25, 26, 27. This is where you go back and use your book that we really can't help you with right now. But I want you to go in and picture growing your tree. Go into your team leader. Just say, look, I want to build my profit share tree. These are the people that I know, and can you help me get an appointment with them and help me build my profit share tree? So take this to your team leader, and it says, where might you find people you'd like to work with or be in relationship with? So think about people you've done a transaction with. Think about people that you know that are at another company that you think would be a great fit for Keller Williams. Write them on here, take this page into your team leader and just say, look, I want to help build my profit share tree. They'll be more than happy to help you with that. Or maybe you get on the committee for the growth committee for your ALC. So where can you find people to build relationships with, okay? That's anywhere, at the grocery store, if you go out to dinner, the hostess, the waitress, people that you're doing co-op transactions with. You need to start that conversation. So what does that look like? Share a real compliment. Like I said, if you've done a transaction with somebody on the other side, and they've done a great job on the inspection, or they've done a great job, taking it to close, or whatever it might be, share a real compliment. Even if it wasn't the best deal in the world, find something that was great. As long as it got to closing, you know what? They made something happen. Now, sometimes we have the mindset that, gee, I don't think that person would be good for Keller Williams. Well, you know what? Sometimes people are in a different environment. They're not in a cultured environment. So, part of our Y4C2Cs is to stay into curiosity, right? Communication, seek first to understand. Don't become judgmental or opinionated. Really look and have a conversation. Give them a book, give them a shift book, give an MREA book, give them a one thing book. Get the team leader. Maybe nobody has paid any attention to them in the past and they don't know how to be nice. So don't stay into curiosity. Don't come from a scarcity mindset. Ask them for their input or their expertise. Maybe they're a great agent. You want to maybe learn from them, or go out to lunch and learn from them. Find out how they're dealing with doing listings or taking buyers through properties with virtual tours. Find something to have a conversation with. So you're setting up a time, you look for opportunities to help, then you refer them to the team leader. And so more information is on page 29 about starting that conversation, sharing a compliment, asking them for their input, setting up a time to meet. Now there's scripts in here. So there's scripts in your book, okay, where it says, meet with a co-op agent after a transaction is closed. And it says, it was so much fun doing that transaction with you. I really like the way that you handle that inspection. Okay. Can we go to have coffee next week? I just want to get to know you. I might have a small gift of appreciation. That might be the book. And I'd like to give to you. Is that okay? How about Tuesday at 10 o'clock? That might be a script that you use. Or there's other scripts on here as well that you can utilize. So get to know those and maybe role play with other agents in your market center. Get with your team leader. Maybe you can role play with them. And I'm actually thinking, Ashley, I want to start this advanced profit share group. Now, I think it was George Martinez mentioned about Wealth Building Wednesdays. I think that's what he was talking about, is the Wealth Building Wednesdays that occurs every other Wednesday. I believe today is Tech Tuesday, but next Wednesday is Wealth Building Wednesday, although they may not have it because of Mega Camp, but it would be the following week. Get on to those Wealth Building Wednesday calls. Learn from those. That's kind of like the advanced profit share. But Ashley, I really want to get something started where the agents that we can role play and that we can put some purposeful plans together and that we can really maybe get from everybody their goal, and we can kind of hold you accountable to helping you with some of the things that you want to do. If you're interested in that, would you please let Ashley know, because we really want to get a good class started on that. We kind of stopped it a little bit because of the Wealth Building Wednesdays, but I'd really like to get that going. Okay, then on page 35, that was an activity that we can't do here. Okay, look for opportunities to help. Okay, you aren't meeting with the agents to recruit them. You're meeting with them to get to know them and to share your insights and support each other. Ask about themselves, share your business tools and your insights. My gosh, so many people are coming to Keller Williams because of command. If you're a command user, share with people, just say, oh my gosh, I want to share with you some of the great tools that we're having here. Be open to any outcomes, and time is going to enrich the relationship. Jimmykissick on her class will tell you that it's time over task. It's the time that you're in that relationship with people that will really enrich that relationship. And come from contribution always. Provide to them insights from your team meeting. Invite them to come to maybe a Zoom call for your team meeting. Share with them your GPS worksheet. Hopefully you guys are doing that. That's your goals, priorities, and your strategies. Share with them your 411, the One Thing book, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, the Millionaire Real Estate Investor book. Shift. Always come from contribution or anything else that might be coming from your market center. And then refer them to your team leader. This is the Mo Anderson script. I love doing transactions with you. You are awesome. I told my team leader just how great you were. He or she is going to be calling you to thank you for the way that you do business. Will you promise to take my team leader's call? Now, the way that I like to do that, actually, I just say, please make sure you take my team leader's call. Now, many of you say, I ask you, why do you not do this? When I'm teaching ALC clinic or other times, I say, why do we not do this? Why do we not use this script? Can anybody go off of mute right now and tell me why you have hesitation to use this script? Who's going to be bold and do that? Ashley, is there anything more in the chat box for me?
Not yet.
Okay. Anybody going to be bold and go off script and mastermind with me on this, or kind of tell me why you wouldn't want to use that script? Anybody bold enough to do that? No?
Ron's waving his hand.
Ron Clymer's waving his hand. Okay, Ron, go off mute and tell me.
Yeah, we're afraid of rejection. That's why we're afraid they'll say, no, I don't want to talk to you or your people. I'm happy over here at Century 21.
All right, great. So, Ron, will you mastermind? Can I just role play with you and you be that person?
Sure.
Agent? All right, I love it, Ron. So Ron, I'm going to do this whole thing and you just come back at me with whatever you want to say. And this is what I'm teaching you all to do, okay? So Ron, I just love doing transactions with you. I just told my team leader about you the other day and how great you were with that transaction, 123 Elm Street. They're going to be calling you to thank you for the way that you did business. Please be sure and take their call.
Who's going to call me?
My team leader, because we want to thank you for doing a great job with me.
Oh, you don't need to thank me. I didn't do anything but show up at the closing.
Well, you know what? You did a great job, and you know what? That's part of our culture, and that's why we want to call and thank you for doing a great job. Plus, we're going to be giving you a gift. We're going to be giving you a gift of one of our books.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm not kidding.
Man.
All right, so just watch for their call, okay?
Huh?
Watch for their call, okay?
Okay, what's his name?
Beth Woodhall.
Okay.
All right, very good. Now, Ron, I want you to give me pushback that I don't want to be recruited.
Oh, okay.
Promise me that you're going to take my team leader's call.
Oh, no. You mean what, like to recruit me over to Keller Williams?
Nope, we're not going to recruit you. We're just going to thank you for doing business with us.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm too busy. I appreciate the deal and I appreciate you showing my listing, but I'd rather not.
Okay. Well, no problem. Remember, we're just going to thank you for doing business with you. Have a great day, Ron.
Okay.
Now what you do is, and these are, by the way, these are the objections I get all the time. What you do is you go to your team leader and you say, I just want to let you know, I just closed a deal with Ron Clymer. It was at 123 Elm Street. I used the script about you're going to call and thank him, and he really didn't want you to call him. But I told him you weren't planning on recruiting him, that you were just going to call and thank him for doing business. So please don't recruit him. And the team leader is going to say, okay.
Okay.
Now, guys, I don't want you to be in fear. Here's what I find. We're missing out on a lot of profit sharing because what happens is you as the agent are fearful that the team leader is going to call and try to recruit somebody. We don't call and recruit people. We don't call them and say, "Hey, Ron, this is Georgia. I know you did a transaction with Sally the other day, and she just said you were marvelous. I want to talk to you about joining Keller Williams." Guys, we don't do that. We would call and we would say, "Hey, Ron, I was just calling to thank you for doing business the other day with Sally. Now, I know you didn't want to be called, but you know what? I just wanted to say thank you for being a great agent. If it wasn't for people like you, we wouldn't get our listings sold."
Oh, okay.
So I just wanted to say thank you. And by the way, I want to give you a gift. Do you have one of our Millionaire Real Estate Agent books or our One Thing book?
No.
Okay, could I put one of those in the mail to you?
Sure.
Now, if it wasn't for the COVID guys right now, I would be meeting with them. Okay, but if you have the opportunity, just say, "Great, can we meet at Starbucks at 10 o'clock on Thursday, and I'll be able to hand it to you."
Yeah,
I'll have,
that'll work.
I'll have my mask on, I promise.
Yeah, that'll work. I'll wear a mask too.
Awesome. Now, I want to be able to recognize you, so otherwise we might look like a couple of bandits, right? Everybody in there is going to have a mask on.
Well, I'm easy to recognize. Just look for the guy with the whitest hair.
All right, that sounds great, and I look forward to seeing you and meeting you and sharing this book. So you have a great day, and thanks for doing the great transaction with us. We really appreciate professional people such as yourself.
Well, thanks for the compliments.
You're welcome. Now, guys, that's what I'm going to do as the team leader. And then when I meet with him, I'm still not going to try to recruit him. I'm going to build a relationship with him. We can't recruit people that don't want to be recruited. We can build relationships with people and show them the value of what Keller Williams has to offer. And through that value proposition, that's how we build the relationships that get them to be more interested in Keller Williams. Does that make sense? Ron, did that help you a little bit too?
That helps me an awful lot, Georgia. I can't tell you how much that helps me. That is probably the most valuable thing I've learned about profit share, and I've been studying this stuff for 3 years.
Awesome. Awesome. So, and Ron, I'd love to have you on my call because you can help us grow Orlando big time. So I'm really interested in having more conversations with you, okay?
All right, thank you. I'm
You
going to Florida.
know people at other companies, okay? Here's another objection. It's in your book. I don't intend to recruit you. I hope you're not disappointed. My team leader and I just wanted to thank you for doing that transaction with us. Okay? Here's some things you don't do. You never say anything negative about someone else's company. You never say anything negative about someone else's broker. And you never say anything negative about what you think they might be experiencing. Okay? And then you find out, how does your team leader like to get referrals? Do you have the focus on 15 form? Do they want a sticky note? Do you have a recruiting bridge? Whatever it might be, please make sure that you're going into your team leader every time you do a transaction and give them the name of the person. As we close up here, I want to share with you a story, and that's what I'm going to close with. But here's the thing. Follow up, connect with the agents on social media. Call the agents about an item that you shared. Now is a great time to be calling your agents that you know, and ask your team leader about inviting him to Mega Camp. That's a great way for you to be able to grow your profit share tree. Inviting them to a class like Mega Camp, or inviting them to something on your Market Center calendar. Enter them into command and track them when you contacted the agent and what you talked about and when you will follow up next. So make sure that you put them in your command, okay? Offer them your Keller Williams app. This is another great thing to do, okay? And now, again, I'm not going to do this because fully, but I want to send you back with this. So I want you to think about, what would passive income do for you and your family? How many people do you want in your first level? What activities are you going to engage in regularly? What activities will you engage in today, and how will you stay on track? This is why I want to build our little second level profit share, advanced profit share, because I want to be able to build a plan for you. The other thing I want you to do is I want you to, every other Wednesday, I want you to be able to go to that Wealth Building Wednesdays and learn and listen from Jay Papasan and others about profit share. Now, here's a story that I want to tell you, okay? And then I want to make sure I answered all your questions. There was a young man who just got started into real estate, and he had his like second or third closing. And it just so happened that this last closing that he had, it was with the top like multi-million-dollar agent in the area. And so he had gone to the profit share class and he learned about the script, and he went back to his team leader and he said, I just closed my transaction with Joe Smith, this big agent. And he said to the team leader, he said, should I use the script? And the team leader said, well, sure. So the little agent, the brand new agent, called Joe Smith and he said, hey, Joe, he said, I so admire you. I love doing transactions with you. You were actually one of my first ones. I just want my team leader to call and thank you for being so nice to me and handling the transaction. And he said, would you mind if my team leader called you? And Joe Smith said, no, go ahead and have him call. The team leader called, did what they're supposed to do, and they set up a meeting to give Joe the book. They went and had the meeting, and guess what? Joe, the multi-millionaire agent that nobody thought would ever join Keller Williams and nobody ever referred, joined Keller Williams. And guess who they named? They named the new agent. Now, all the other agents in the market center would, wait a minute. I've known Joe for a long time. I never thought he would join Keller Williams. I didn't give you his name because he's a big agent. He would never leave that other company. Well, guess what? Everybody had limiting beliefs about Joe. All that needed to happen is that Joe needed to have an introduction to the team leader. So this agent got this multi-million-dollar agent in their tree. And of course, because Joe was influential, Joe loved profit share and he attracted everybody else. And so guess what? This brand new agent's profit share tree grew, all because he used the script and he had the courage to be able to have that conversation. So the point I'm trying to make to you is everybody that joins Keller Williams needs to name a sponsor. The only decision that they need to make is it going to be you or is it going to be somebody else? So this is why it's important that you build these relationships now and that you're calling people and that you're working with your team leader, that you have a plan in place to be able to grow your profit share tree, because you could be missing out on thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, because you just don't know who's going to be the next profit share earner that's going to be making big bucks, big profit share bucks. So I hope you enjoyed the class today. Ashley, do we have any questions that I can answer? Because I want to know, what did you learn, and how do you think this is going to impact? And is there anything else that you need to know about? So
yeah, I have several questions that are in the chat that I'm going to read off. Okay, from your opinion and experience, do you believe that an agent that has a proven sales history has a better chance or job of attracting co-ops and retaining them than a newer agent?
no, it doesn't have anything to do with that. And the other thing is that you're not responsible for anybody's success. All you're doing is you're bringing somebody over and you're introducing them to the team leader. It's the job of the market center, and it's the job of the market center to train them and to make sure that the productivity coach and to make sure that all their questions are answered. Now, I will say this. It's like any business. If you want to be purposeful about your profit share, then if you wanted to keep track of the people that were in your tree, and if you wanted to have a mastermind session, or if you wanted to contact them every month and you wanted to congratulate them, or if you wanted to do something to ignite them, of course, anything that you do extra and above and beyond will help somebody be more successful. But it's not your job to do that. I mean, I hate to say this, but all those people in my profit share tree, I've never talked to them. Never talked to them. Shame on me, because what if I were to get them in a group and say, hey guys, I want to help you build your profit share. I could probably get a few of them. In fact, it's probably a good idea that I do that. I could probably get a few of them to be, I'm the teacher teaching you, and I'm not doing it. It's kind of like the shoemaker that always wears the worn shoes, right? So no, it would be to your advantage to be able to do that, but it's not required and it's not necessary.
Okay.
So it doesn't have anything to do with your success or not. It's just a matter of getting that person to your team leader. So what difference does it make if you're successful or not successful? Just give the team leader that name and let the team leader call them for you.
Okay. Next question. Should we be speaking with brokers or agents?
No, agents that you're doing transactions with. Now, brokers, that's a little bit different, but a broker doesn't have anything. It doesn't matter whether they're a broker or if they're an agent. You just want producing people. Okay, you just want agents that are producing. It doesn't matter if they're the broker of an office or not. The only time it would make a difference if they were a broker of an office is if you had an opportunity, if they were what we call an indie or an independent brokerage, and they had maybe 5 or 6 agents at their brokerage. If you had a relationship with that person, then you could give that name to the team leader or your operating principal and say, hey, I have a relationship with this broker over here, and we might be able to get their whole office. Could you pick up the phone and can we get an appointment with them? That would be the only time. Other than that, you just want producing people. That's all you want is producing people.
Okay.
Guys, I want to say this lovingly. Don't try to overcomplicate this. Don't try to overcomplicate this. If you've got somebody that's a producing agent, give the name to your team leader. Give the name to your team leader and let the team leader make the call for you. It's nice if you call the person ahead of time because you know them and thank them for doing a transaction. And I'm sorry, I'm reading a message here, so I got off track. It's, where was I, Ashley? I lost track of what I was doing.
You were doing a transaction.
Yeah, if somebody's doing a transaction, it's nice that you call them and say, thanks for doing the transaction with me. I'm going to have my team leader call. So you kind of tee up the referral to the team leader. But right now, if you're hesitant about that, go to the team leader, give them the name, and work with your team leader to get that set up. Don't let your limiting beliefs or about being scared about calling somebody stop you from building your tree. Go work with your team leader. Or come to my advanced profit share class and we will work together to take away those limiting fears, okay? Guys, the worst thing that can happen is if somebody says, if you use that script and somebody says, I don't want to be called, I'm just going to show you what to do. So I'm going to do this with Ron again. Hey, Ron, this is Georgia. I was great doing, and you, Ron, what I want you to say is, no, don't bother me. It was great doing that transaction with you. I really appreciate everything you did. I'm going to have my team leader call and thank you for doing business with you.
Please don't do that. I got too much stuff to do to talk to your team leader and tell him 21 reasons why I don't want to leave my company and go to work for your company.
Okay, I understand. Well, thanks for doing that deal with me, Ron.
Okay.
Okay. Did I just take the fear away?
Yeah.
All you have to do is just say, okay, thank you, Ron. Thanks for doing the deal with me. That's all you need to do. Now, go to your team leader and say, I just did a deal with Ron Clymer. I've used the script. He doesn't want to be called. Let the team leader handle it from there. Does that make sense? Because I'm going to tell you something. If you don't do that, there's going to be a time and a day that Ron Clymer joins Keller Williams, and because you have the fear of giving your team leader that name, they will not call him, but somebody else is going to come in and tell that team leader to call Ron Clymer, and then you will not have gotten that deal or that sponsorship. Does that make sense?
Oh man, it makes a ton of sense.
Okay, now there's more to that. There's a little bit more to this because the team leader is going to know that you gave the name. Okay, we want to make sure that you're in the loop on this. And so you're going to work with your team leader on this, but make sure that your team leader knows because that gives you a better chance of having Ron name you as the sponsor. Okay? It's kind of like procuring cause on a listing is the best way I can describe it. Okay? We can't always promise it, but if you're not in the loop at all, you're never going to be named.
I have a question. Okay, so I know you keep talking to Ron about growing Orlando to a profit share. So I know I just started, it's been almost like a month here, but I want to be part of that team as well. So
attend my advanced profit share class. Just attend my advanced profit share class.
So this is my second time I'm attending. Is that part of advanced private class?
Right. The only reason I'm talking
okay.
you may not know, The only reason I'm talking to Ron is because Ron called me ahead of time and he asked me about the class. Ron, for how many years were you here, Ron?
I was in Central Florida forever. Went to high school there.
Right. So Ron's lived here all his life. Ron was, what's your name? I don't know your name.
It's Noel, and I've been here for 25 years as well. So I lived all my life in Orlando.
Perfect. So you know a lot of people. The only reason I'm talking to Ron is because I know him and I can role play with him. But the other reason is that
Okay.
he probably trained about back in the day when he had his real estate school, he probably trained 50% of all of the agents that have a real estate license for the last 30 years in Orlando. So he knows
Got
all
it. Okay.
Okay, so he has a very good chance of he already has relationships. But Noel, I'll help anybody. He just happened to reach out to me. You've reached out to me now, so I'll help you.
But this is the right classes I'm doing, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to have another class, and you be in that class with Ron and whoever else, and we'll help you guys build your profit share. Which market center are you in, Noel?
Hunter's Creek, it's 210.
Okay, with Liliana and Olga.
Yes.
Yeah, no problem.
I got 2 today.
Awesome. Awesome.
I
Great
got 2 today. I was like,
Guys, my goal is to help you
so
all.
I wanna.
My goal is to help you all get really wealthy and profit share. So if we can help you do that, I will devote my time to that. Noel, all you got to do is speak up and let me know. And I'm happy.
Perfect.
And Ashley and I will get that class on our calendar, okay?
Okay, good. So I will be attending all your classes, just to let you know.
I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, what else? What else?
Thank you.
What else, Ashley?
There was a question, I answered it, but I think it's worth talking about. Somebody was asking specifically a team who their team leader was, and then if it was the broker. So I think in some cases the team leader can be the broker, but sometimes it's not.
Is it their market center or?
They were asking who is their team leader, and then they said the broker ? So
Well, what market center are they at?
they're at I answered her question. They're at 204. So Dana is her team leader.
Yeah, so you would want to talk to your team leader, not your broker doesn't have anything to do with this. It's your
Right.
team.
Right. That's what I thought I wanted to bring clarity around.
Your broker is just your broker, but your broker doesn't necessarily own your office or run your office. Your team leader is the person that does the recruiting and the growth for your market. Your broker is only your broker for legal reasons, but they're not your leader. They're your leader of your contracts, but they're not your leader of your market center. That's your team leader.
Right. Okay. I don't see any other questions unless somebody wants to go off mute.
Anybody else? Ron, did this help you today?
Yeah, I do have a question which I put in the chat, but apparently she didn't choose to read it. Could you refer somebody to 2 team leaders? Say if they were down in Miami,
Yes.
and you referred them to 2 team leaders in Miami?
Yeah, that was the one that I looked at and I was confused when I said I got confused. Yes, you can refer them to 2 team leaders or 3 team leaders or 4 team leaders. So like in Miami, there's probably 3 or 4 market centers that agent could choose from. So you could refer them to all 4 so they can make the decision as to which market center is best for them. Just make sure that you have that relationship with each one of those 4 team leaders and that they know that you're referring that person and what you're doing. Let the team leader know, just say, hey, I've got Sally Smith. She's looking, you're one of the 4 offices that I'm referring her to. I just want to make sure that if she joins that you have my name down. I'm really working with her to bring her into the company. And guys, that's the other thing is, you want to continue to a certain extent, have a relationship with these people. That's why that's important. But that'll come in our advanced profit share, how we continue to build that relationship, okay? Anything else? Did you guys find this valuable today?
Yes.
Yeah? Is there anything I didn't cover that you needed to have covered?
I'm glad you explained the tree. That's very interesting. It's like you only need to recruit a few people, but then they're going to recruit a whole bunch of people, and then you could basically not do any work if you wanted to and just make money.
Can imagine that all you did was just refer people to a team leader. You could be making any kind of sums as money as you want to, and you're just become a giant recruiter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing is you're really not a giant recruiter, you're a giant referrer. Now, here's what I'm going to say to you guys. The more you know about Keller Williams, the better you're going to be at referring people. And the reason why is because everybody, the more knowledge base you have, because from time to time, people will ask you a question or you want to meet them for coffee. And if you have the ability to be able to talk about who we are, like through our books, the One Thing book or the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, I'm not talking about how profit share works or how the splits work, or that's not your job. Your job is to know about, gosh, how this One Thing book really helped me, how this helped me get a really balanced life, how the MREA book really helped with you building your team, how you became an investor by using the Millionaire Real Estate Investor book. I don't want you to talk to them about splits. I don't want you to talk to them about how profit share works. I don't want you having those kinds of conversations. I just want you to talk about the value, the culture, how we help you become a better leader. Does that make sense? Sometimes we get in there and you meet somebody and then they want to know, well, tell me your split. Well, tell me this. Well, tell me that. Well, how does this work? How does that work? That's not your job. Just say, you know what? I'm not a recruiter. I don't get involved in those things. If you have those kinds of questions, that's something that you need to talk to my team leader about. I only wanted to show you how Keller Williams has changed me as a person. You start talking about those things, and each and every one of you, I guarantee you, has been changed by Keller. You've all been changed by Keller Williams as a leader and as an individual. Am I right?
Yes.
That's the stories that I want you to tell. I see Russell here. Russell, am I telling him the right stuff to bring everything to you? Russell's one of our newer team leaders, right, Russell?
100%. Yep.
Okay. You do all that stuff. And Russell, everything that I'm telling him, like, you don't go out and recruit people, you go out and build relationships and you find the gap in the needs analysis in their business, right? And then
Yep.
through that's what makes them excited about people coming to Keller Williams, correct?
100%. Yeah. I mean, the conversation is always just like you said. It's kind of have a gift, kind of just thank them for being, good at that transaction. Usually we go a little bit more targeted, like if they're really good at communication, we compliment them on their communication because no other brokerage is doing that.
Right. Hey,
So, yeah.
Russell, I have a question for you. Were you, when you joined Keller Williams, were you a new agent or were you at another company?
I was brand new.
Who was at another company before they joined Keller Williams? Anybody?
Have been many years ago.
Yeah, but you were different. You're different, Ron, because you were a teacher, and so I'm looking for somebody that was at another company. Anybody here want to go off mute and tell me that you were with another company?
How about JM over here at JM Realty?
JM Realty. So all right. So Reggie,
Yeah, I was.
what company were you at? Would you mind telling us?
Yeah, it was a small company called Twin Action Realty.
Okay.
And Joy recruited me.
Now, when Joy recruited you, did you come over when she first made the phone call, or did it take a while?
No, it took a long while.
And when Joy first called you, did she call you and say, hey, Reggie, I want to talk to you about joining Keller Williams, or did she call you and talk to you about how are you doing and what's going on with the business? How did that call go?
Well, she just kept checking in on me, seeing how the business is going. I see you sold this and that, and she did, and then she just kept
Tripping on you.
just kept on me. Yeah.
And it probably took you, what'd you say, 2 or 3 years?
Probably a couple years.
Yeah.
And then she said, I want to bring you to Mega Agent out in Austin, and we're going to put you up and feed you and give you drinks. And I told my wife, and she goes, they're going to put you up, fly you out, and give you drinks, and you don't have to join. I said, that's what they tell me.
Well, that was true. You didn't really have to.
And I get to tell you, thank you so much for when that was the week that I went out there, that the Kenny Loggins, that he did the show, and you gave me the tickets because I'm a musician, and I was like, ugh, that pretty much sealed the deal when I saw that.
That was an awesome, wasn't it? Those Kenny
it was magical.
I forgot about that, but yes, I remember now.
Yeah, that
We
was
know how to
awesome.
get it. But it wasn't about Keller Williams. It was just about showing how much we care about people, right?
Yeah, yeah. It was awesome.
Thank you, Reggie. Now, Ron, you were with another company, right? And Jerry, I got your hand up. Ron, you were with another company, and Ron Clymer?
Well, back in Orlando years ago.
Yeah.
But,
And then you started your real estate, you had your real estate school, right?
Yeah.
Now, why did you join Keller Williams? Out of all the companies you could have joined, why did you join Keller Williams?
you want me to tell you the truth? I think it's because of your husband.
Did you name him as your sponsor?
No, I didn't name him as a sponsor. He was in a class 10 years ago. And in my post-license classes, I always have the students do presentations. And I think it's him.
Yeah, Louis Alpizar, it was.
And he did a presentation about Keller Williams. And I thought, golly, hey, I should join Keller Williams. But at the time, I was running a school and didn't want to affiliate with any particular broker. But 10 years later, when I retired, I came up here, and Janice Cox, if you know her from Maine, she came to the school where I took the real estate course in North Carolina, and I went to see her, and I went to work for Keller Williams. But it was.
Came on, Louis. We could have had part of that profit share too, but that's the way things work, right, Ron?
That's the way it works.
That's the way it works. So see, sometimes, guys, you can have somebody that's really influential, but you know, it's like 10 years later and everything, that's the way that goes. Jerry, what did you, where were you before Keller Williams?
Oh, I wasn't anywhere. I just started. But no, I had a question about the profit sharing again. So if I didn't do any sales, or if my market center wasn't profitable, I still would get from anybody from my downline, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Nobody would get from you because you didn't have a transaction and or your market center wasn't profitable, either one. That doesn't have anything to do with you not getting profit share. As long as people that are in your tree contributed to the market center, and the market center that they are associated with has profit, you'll get profit share.
Okay.
That's the beauty of it. It doesn't have anything to do with your production. It has everything to do with everybody else's production.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else? Did we do good today? Awesome. I love doing these classes, and I love to have more people in our advanced profit share class. And let's go make people millions of dollars. Okay.
Hey, Georgia.
Yes, Russ.
I might have missed a little bit, but can you tell me a little bit more about the advanced profit share class?
It's just something that I'm going to create, Russell, that, you know, we have a lot of people that want to learn more about profit share, want to know specifics, and I can't cover it all in this session that I'm doing. And
okay.
Not every market center has the ability to be able to teach it at a certain level. So what I want to do is, if I have people that are really, really interested in it, like Nicole and Ron, or maybe Karen, that are really interested in building their profit share tree, I want to be able to help them and put a plan together and have an accountability that we can come to whatever they decide, whether it be every 2 or 3 weeks or whether it's every month,
awesome.
that we have a place where they can come to get their questions answered, and I can be a resource for them.
Perfect.
Building value. And it's not going to be required. I mean, you know, I just want to have kind of like a time frame that it's Q&A to answer questions and say, okay, what do you guys want to talk about today? And what is it that you need? And, you know, what's stopping you from being able to do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. Awesome. All right. You guys are the best. Make sure that you put your information in the chat if you're interested in my advanced profit share class. Just kind of more questions and answering things. Okay. All right, guys, have a great week. Thanks for all you do. Hey, if you haven't signed up for Mega Camp, go sign up for Mega Camp today. It's going to be awesome. If nothing else, but just the keynote speakers. Okay. All right, have a great week. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Bye.